Good morning, guys. We're gonna do the Dreamkeepers Tarot again today. I don't know. I was called to work with it yesterday. I'm called to work with it today. Just because we're using the same deck doesn't mean that this is gonna be for the same collective necessarily. Like I said, if the reading fits, it fits. If it doesn't fit, don't force it. Hopefully this finds whoever it's meant to find. It is cold outside. I am not here for the cold. Like, I like me some spring weather where I can go hiking or just be outside and enjoy it without shivering and having like super cold toes. I'm just not built for this cold. Not at all. I'm not asking for a specific amount of cards today. Just whatever the universe decides to give me. And then we'll see what it has to say. I did get one card already, which is kind of interesting. Oh, that's a good one too. Today's reading, I think, is going to be a little more lighthearted than yesterday's reading. Like I always say, no reading is negative, even if it may be something that you don't necessarily want to hear. Doesn't mean it's negative. It's always positive in some way if you change your perspective. There's always something to be taken from a reading. We're getting a lot of we're getting a lot of major cards. Not like the minor where it's like the suits of cups and wands and such. Like we're getting a lot of major ones. So, and they're very, I don't know, this is just a very good reading. I'm feeling like a lot of positivity and love and I don't know, clarity. Literally clarity. I don't know if she wants to give us any more. Lordy, lordy, lordy. I think that might be all we're getting today. 6 minutes of shuffling cards. My wrist hurts. That's the first reversal I've drawn in this reading, and I have 12 cards total, and we only have one reverse so far. Ooh. Okay. That's a lot of cards. We have 14 cards total. So this might be another long reading, but we'll see. My incense did not light when I first lit it. Like the flame went out, and then I just tried to light it again, and the flame went out again. Look at the back of it. It's so pretty. She's so pretty. Can I blow it out from over here? There we go. Okay. So the first card we drew is Four of Cups. Super pretty. It's a lady sitting, and she's got four cups in front of her. All four are full. This card represents dissatisfaction and an unwillingness to see what is offered. So with that being said, you may be in a place where you're just not happy right now. You're not content, and you can't figure out why. There may be like solutions in front of you, or offerings or paths that you could take, but you're just not satisfied with them. Like, you're just like, this is not what I want. Like, even if it's offered, this is not what I want. Let me see. It says, even when we are stuck in a powerless position, it is important to remember that solutions and help abound. We need only summon the courage to look beyond our current mindset in order to recognize it. In our pain or hopelessness, we may not see this mysterious offer, being too wrapped up in a story of suffering, or more tragically, perhaps we do see it, but we flat out reject it and potentially miss a chance for healing. This card, when it's drawn, means that you may want to ask yourself if you're willing to step beyond your dissatisfaction to consider what the fourth cup might hold. So the 3 cups could represent dissolution of a relationship, or something like something bad, something negative, something going on, like just things that you're not wanting to manifest in your life. But in the last cup being offered, there could be something positive there that you don't really expect or you don't see yet. So to ask ourselves if we are more comfortable with our pain than with the effort and risk required to change it. So there is still time to find healing and salvage the blessings contained in the cups, but in order to see them, action is necessary. So you may be dissatisfied right now. You may be sitting in pain, disappointment, something like that. Basically, a way to put this is you're sitting there and the universe is giving you 4 cups to drink from. You've seen the first 3, and you're not interested in them. You're just like, no, that's not satisfying. It's not what I want in my life. Like, even if it benefits me, you may be being stubborn about them, whatever. Then imagine the universe is handing you one last final cup, like one last hope to hold on to. And it's saying, okay, if those aren't satisfying, take this one. And in your mind, you're like, oh, well, those 3 were unsatisfying, not what I wanted. Why would I take this 4th one? Like, I don't want any of this. Sometimes it's worth the risk. You never know what the future holds with anything. And indecisiveness is a decision in itself. So if you are in a place where you are just dissatisfied, you don't know where you're going, you don't know if you even want to go in any certain direction, you're kind of just moping in a way, you can't move forward unless you choose to move forward. So look at all the options in front of you, no matter what they are, whether you're interested, whether they're giving you what you want or not. Weigh the pros and the cons, and if you need to take a risk on one, take a risk on one. But sitting in indecisiveness will just leave you where you're at. So keep that in mind. The next card is the Star. She's beautiful. This is actually on the front of the deck. This card represents spiritual regeneration through deep healing and transmutation of the original wound, the renewal of one's life force. The wounded healer is a powerful archetype at the core of all genuine healing, which means we have our resources inside of us. We have the resources inside to heal if we truly want to tune into them. To understand and to heal the pain of others, we must first understand and heal our own pain. So you may be in a place of hurting right now, dissatisfaction, not being pleased, not knowing where you're going, not being happy with where you're at. This card can represent that healing is possible right now. You're in a place where if your perspective is changed and you decide to do the work, you can heal and you can evolve and you can transform into a new version of yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You have to fill your cup first. So maybe you're struggling with sympathizing with people around you or having empathy for others around you. That's not necessarily negative. We all struggle with that from time to time. But you may be struggling with understanding and truly seeing those around you in unconditional love and with grace because you're not seeing yourself in that light. So it might be time to kind of just sit with your own pain and see it for what it is and do some healing on your own time away from society and other people. This card is here to shine hope into our present, lighting the way to tomorrow and allowing to live in expectation rather than despair. She tends to our positive thoughts and gives freely to all, offering overwhelming hope in the face of desperation. If your imagination has been stalled, the Star is here to reopen your pathways, to stimulate you on deeper levels. If you are grieving a person or any other loss, she is here to usher you through the anguish and into a more tranquil state. Having accepted and healed her own wounds and losses, she teaches us how to bear and heal our own. More than anything, the Star is here to teach you to shine. Just as she is a heavenly body, so too are you. We are enormous in our influence and reach, even though we may perceive ourselves as nothing more than tiny specks in the black expanse. Not only are we made of light, we are light. She reminds us to embrace our healing light and to never be afraid to shine. So, even if you can't be there for others right now, you can be there for yourself. Choose to be there for yourself. And with that, healing your own pain and doing your own inner work, later on you'll be able to help someone in the same place. So don't lose hope. Like, if you're in a rut right now, or if you're in a place where you're dissatisfied or you're just not happy, not content where you are in life, what you have around you, who you're surrounded by, what you're surrounded by, where you're going, the direction you're going in, have a little bit of hope. It may just be time for some healing. The next card we drew is the Lovers. So don't get twisted with this one. The Lovers card does not always mean that love is coming in. The Lovers card just represents love in its purest form. And I love this card. Look how beautiful she is. Like, I just love it. She's beautiful. When this card shows up, it is a symbol of human love in its greatest expression. So it doesn't always represent romantic love, but it represents love as a whole. Like, love is the reason of life. So it represents love from everyone around you, from yourself for yourself, from yourself for others, from others for you. My braid came out of my bobby pin. Leave me alone, guys. Don't judge me. Okay. The Lovers represents... Okay. This just contradicts what I said, but keep in mind that this does not always mean romance. The Lovers represents romance, union, partnership, and healthy relationships. It is a pairing between two complementary opposites where there is a flow of love, respect, and compassion. This is a deep bond that was created in a moment of mutual witnessing and honest sharing. It is a partnership that often seems destined and divinely protected. So it can represent romance. It really can. Just don't attach to that, because it's not always representative of romantic natures. It could just be platonic. This could be a deep relationship with someone who appears and disappears suddenly, stepping in at precisely the right moment to jolt us into an important awakening of some kind. It could be someone we will be close to for many years, or if we are lucky, our entire lives. Sometimes as an intimate partner, or perhaps as a platonic friendship, business partner, collaborator, or a family member. We will always know them by the larger sense of ourselves they inspire within us. This card is calling on you to believe in the force of love that is at the root of all things, to make choices based on this principle and fill your life with it. Be brave in connecting with those who come into your life and offer their hearts to you. The love here is most often romantic in nature, but can be anyone you feel a deep connection with in a reciprocal relationship. If you are not currently in a relationship and are seeking one, what is it that you seek? Are you wishing for a partner who mirrors you on an internal and external level, one who shares all of your interests, behaviors, and expressions of personal style? If that is the case, consider that perhaps you are not seeking another, but instead you are seeking yourself. More than that, you are seeking the love of yourself. And finally, the Lover's card represents choice. If you are faced with a choice and unsure of what to choose, ask yourself, what would love do? So, my opinion so far on this reading, you are dissatisfied with the options you have. You're in a very just uncontent. You are just not happy right now. Not happy with what you have, not happy with what you're being offered. The Star card is just representative that you do actually need some healing before you can help truly heal others or actually be there for others the way they need you to be. You got to be there for yourself. And the Lover's card represents that as well, because it could mean that you have a romantic relationship coming in or already active in your life that's significant. But the energy of this reading, I'm getting the energy that that's not the case. You may be attached to love. You may be in love with the idea of love, but that doesn't mean a romantic relationship is what you want. You're just clinging to the idea of it because maybe you feel that it will bring you the contentness that you're searching for. That's not the case. I think this card showed up to tell you that you do need to love yourself. Like, what you're searching for in someone else to come into your life, you're really just searching for that from yourself. We are not filled by other people. We are not healed and fixed by other people. Like, someone doesn't just magically come in your life and you're fixed, you're healed, you're whole. That's not true. We are healed by ourselves. We are whole on our own before someone else comes into the picture. That's how true reciprocal relationships should be, is where each partner is focused on keeping themselves happy, content, whole, healed, healthy in their own responsibilities. And then they get together and they add to each other's happiness. So I think this card is a sign that you really need to give yourself some of that love that you're searching for. You're searching for it and you're not finding it over and over again because you're looking in the wrong places. You need to look at yourself. You need to maybe pick up some habits of self-care and self-love, and get comfortable with being there for yourself. Get comfortable with picking yourself up. Get comfortable with giving yourself the love that you offer to everyone else, but you don't think you're worthy of. Get comfortable with giving yourself the love that you so much desire to give to somebody else. Because once you get comfortable with giving it to yourself and realizing that you are worthy of it, you will eventually attract someone who believes the same about themselves. And that will eternally lead to a very healthy, long lasting relationship when it's rooted in genuine connection and not egotistical. I need you to fix me, heal me. I need you to be in my life to make me whole so I can move forward. You have to be whole with yourself. The next card that we drew is Eight of Wands. This card, beautiful again, I'm going to say that about every card. The Eight of Wands card is representative of movement. It is positive acceleration in affairs. So it's a positive sign of acceleration in circumstances, projects, opportunities, or even love. So you could be moving towards something. You could be moving into a phase in your life where you're about to get a promotion or move forward in your career or move forward in your studies, whatever it is that you do. And you may move forward with a relationship. There may be a relationship that you have that you're kind of struggling with, maybe. And if that's the case, that could be a sign that those struggles are gonna come to an end in a sense. Like, this could be guidance that you and your partner both need to focus on healing and loving yourselves so you can therefore show up for each other in a healthy manner rather than an egotistical manner. So that could be that way as well. The next card that we drew is the Empress. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say it. It's beautiful. They're all beautiful. Okay. The Empress card represents the Earth Mother. Sensuality expressed, relationships maintained, bounty enjoyed. All living creatures thrive in her presence. She is the nurturing caregiver, cherishing the world and all of its inhabitants. She is generous. I can't speak. She is generous with her affections, and with this tender capacity to give and receive love, enjoys deep, stable, and rewarding relationships with others. By her example, she teaches us to enjoy and experience all that is available to us, easily receiving it, thoroughly feeling it, lavishing in it, and sharing the excess with love. She teaches us that the remedy of scarcity is not abundance. It is in having enough. And with that means if you feel like you're in scarcity or like you don't have enough to be happy or to make do where you are to get by, you do. You're just you're not content with what you have. But the trick is to change your perspective to gratefulness. When you're thinking about everything that you don't have, you forget to think about everything that you do have. And that can lead to unhappiness and not being satisfied and all of that. So keep that in mind. When the Empress appears in a reading, she brings a message of abundance. Abundance in love, pleasure, growth, prosperity, and fertility in all things. In order to receive this bounty, we must fully inhabit ourselves by following her example, opening our senses to the world, reconnecting with the earth, and reconnecting with our body. She reminds us to count our blessings and relish as she does in the ecstasy of knowing that you are enough. She urges to share the excess as she shares, freely nourishing everything in creation. The Empress can also speak of literal fertility and birth or metaphorical versions of both. So open yourself to the life force that abounds and flows through all that you do. When you allow all of your senses to show you the way to acceptance, to the abundance already present in your life, then more is sure to follow. So maybe you've been dissatisfied. Maybe you're looking for some form of guidance and clarity, insight, anything. You may need a little bit of healing and some self-love and some self-acceptance, and you may possibly be in a relationship already where you both are kind of struggling a little bit with that. You and your partner may be both like dissatisfied, or You may both just be unhappy, maybe unhappy with each other in a sense, but you can't figure out why. There's a lot of movement coming in, so maybe if you're not in a relationship, maybe you're going to heal yourself and do some healing and self-love, and you're going to attract someone to be in a relationship or a healthy relationship. That's a possibility as well. The Empress just represents to remember to be humble. Stay humble. Keep yourself humble, because there are people who have it worse than you. It can always be worse. Even if times are rough and you're struggling a little bit and you're struggling with the fact of that, you still need to just bring yourself back, detach from your emotions from the situation, and look at your situation in a greater picture, a bigger picture, bigger perspective. Count everything that you do have. Don't think about everything you don't have. Think about everything you do have and be grateful for that. And if you have excess of anything, think about people who don't have those things that you have excess of, and see if there's any way or places where you can go fill other cups or other people in a sense. But do so in a way without draining yourself, and don't do it from an egotistical way. Don't expect anything in return, because that's not how we're meant to do things in this life. The next card we drew is the Emperor. That card's always like kind of intimidating to me, but it's cool. He represents the earthly father, clear-sighted expression of will and ambition, solid foundation of law and order. That's ironic. So we drew the Empress, and then we drew the Emperor. She represents the earthly mother. He represents the earthly father. So, and with them coming out literally back to back, that's kind of insane. So, my opinion, you could either be in a relationship and you guys are dissatisfied, unhappy, and each of you are needing to do your own healing in a sense. Or you're not in a relationship, but you're needing more of your own love. And with that, you need more of your own healing. And with your own love and healing, you're going to excel in things in life. You're going to be pushing yourself forward by giving yourself the love that you deserve and you're expecting from another by giving it to you, like yourself. The Empress and the Emperor, with it being the earthly mother and the earthly father, that could represent that you really need to nourish not only your feminine side, but also your masculine side. And you need to remember that this is not specific for a woman or a man. We all have a feminine side. We all have a masculine side. Every single human being is 50-50 feminine and masculine. So this could be representative of the fact that you really need to try to balance those energies. Maybe balance out your give and take. Balance where you give and work and show up and protect and put the energy in, and then the side of you where you let yourself rest and you give yourself empathy and you sympathize with what you are going through, with what you're feeling, etc. So I would actually bet that this collective is not in a relationship. After getting to this card, I would bet that you are in a position of just being dissatisfied and unhappy and not really knowing what your path is or what your purpose is, maybe. The star is just showing that it's time for you to give yourself a little bit of healing. And the way to heal yourself is to give yourself some self-love. Like all the love that you so desperately want to give everyone else, you want everyone else to accept. Maybe they're not accepting it because it's not meant for them. It's meant for you. You're meant to fill your own cup. It is our responsibility to fill our own cup. And with filling our own cups, that helps us excel in life. It helps us succeed. It helps us show up more presently and in a healthy manner for everyone around us, no matter who it is in your life, even if it's just community in general. And with the Empress and the Emperor, you may need to really just do some inner healing of both your masculine and feminine sides. Maybe try to find some healthy balance. Look at your habits, look at your work and play habits, look at your sleep habits, look at your diet habits. Just look at yourself and everything you're doing in a greater picture and make some changes where you need to make them. The next card we drew is the Creatrix, and I may be saying that wrong. It may be the Creatrix. I don't know. I can never understand how to say it, but this is the, I don't think this is the first card. Hold on. This deck is different than my other one. Okay, no. This is the second card of the Major Arcana. But this one represents focused flow of creative energy in order to manifest on the physical plane. This card is telling us that when we don't harness our inherent power of creation, we run the risk of living in someone else's story. In contrast, by embracing this gift, we learn to envision and create not only for ourselves, but for the greater good. Before we can create in a conscious, aware, and meaningful manner, we must first become acquainted with our inner world, our deepest self, and the part of us who is always whole and complete. So that brings me a little bit of clarity on what I said just a minute ago, that I would bet this reading is for a collective of someone who is not in a relationship. You could be. Don't mark my words. I'm forming an opinion on it. I think it's for a collective of people who are not in a relationship but are desiring a relationship, or you long for that. You long for like a relationship, a partner, a connection, to not be alone. You may be battling loneliness and stuff. The way to heal that, and the way to not necessarily cure it, but the way to heal it in a manner to attract that love into your life that you desire, you have to learn to give it to yourself. And with the Creatrix card, or Creatrix, whatever it is, I'll have to look it up. That one kind of gives clarity that you need to remind yourself that you're already whole. Everything you have is already inside of you. You're the only one who can create what you want in life. You're the only one who can make things happen in your life. You are responsible for you. You're responsible for your choices. You're responsible for your habits. Like, you're responsible for everything that you do, everything you say, every action you partake in. So keep that in mind. Tune into your creativity. Look at what you do want to manifest in your life. Like, get down to the nitty gritty details. Write down what you want in life: career, love, things in your home, things in your friendships, in your relationships, whether they're romantic or platonic. Write down what you want to manifest in your life for you. What would bring you the most joy and happiness? What life do you want to live in this one lifetime? And actually take back the power that you are in control of that. You can live whatever life you want to live. You just have to understand that you're responsible for doing the work to get you there, which does involve healing, balancing yourself out, looking where you can make some changes here and there with work and play habits, your diets, your sleep habits, stuff like that. And this reading is very positive. Like, I'm getting an energy that this is meant to reach this collective to give you the push that you need, because you are in a place where you're ready to advance. You're ready to shoot forward and go farther in certain places in your life. So take this energy for what it is and really tune into it. The next card that we drew is the Queen of Wands. This card could represent your energy, or it could represent someone in your life. So keep that in mind before I read this. Okay. The Queen of Wands is the ruler through recognition of personal power and creativity. So this is energy that you need to call into. When the Queen of Wands enters your life, she ushers in a time of ease and excitement. She is someone who has your best interests at heart, and bringing with her the nurturing warmth of the element of fire, she can help light the wick that is already inside of you. She is as fierce with her affections as she is generous, and is not to be taken advantage of. Being a passionate and accomplished person herself, the Queen of Wands could appear demanding that you commit your whole self to your project. Whether you are working on improving your home, taking a game-changing assignment at work, or finally going for the passion you've always dreamt of pursuing, she is telling you to go for it. Her presence affirms that you have the ideas, you have the knowledge, the support, and the passion to succeed. She encourages you to dive in with your total commitment, to believe in yourself, your work, and your vision. This card could represent someone around you. You could have a mother, a grandmother, an aunt, and it could not be family. It could be a friend. It could be a mentor. It could be someone you work with. It could just be a coworker. It could be someone you've met in community. It could be a random person that you've just naturally connected with, and that you've felt a sense of you're able to learn from her, like a sense of safety from her. And you're like, oh, like I do have it in me. Like you look up to this person. So I don't know who that may represent in your life. It could represent someone around you who has given you that kind of energy that you've been missing. Um, and it could be anyone, or it could be in yourself. You could be recognizing that energy in yourself, like I said, where we're already whole as we are. So that energy is already in you. You've probably just never tuned into it. You've never known it's there. So it could be either. It could be someone around you, or it could be yourself saying, hey, I've been here the whole time. You've been looking for all these validations outside of yourself, but in fact, what you're needing is right here inside of you. It's me, you. Like, it's already there. So keep that in mind. That's a good card. That means that even with you dissatisfied right now, you're not necessarily wanting to be dissatisfied. You're not wanting to be indecisive. You're not wanting to be stuck, but you have a block in the situation. You're like, even if I don't want to be stuck and indecisive, I still am. Like, what's wrong with me? Why am I feeling this way? Change your perspective. You just need to do some healing. You need to give yourself some of the love that you always give to other people, that you always want to give to other people. Give it to yourself. The next card that we drew is the Fates. I love this card too. They're all just beautiful. Chef's kiss. With this card, it represents an unexpected yet positive twist in the game of life. That's a very good card. The word fate. Okay, so this card is called the Fates. The word fate comes to us from the Latin word fatum, which is interpreted as that which has been spoken. So with this card, you're meant for something bigger in life. You were put on here to do something specific. We all have our own unique spiritual path, like where we're meant to go, what we're meant to do, how we're meant to help people, and in what way we're meant to do it. Keep in mind that every human being has that. Every human being has their own path already that you're meant to follow. You just have to tune into it. And that card is representative that you're trying to do that work. You're trying to tune into who you're meant to be. You're trying to grow, and you are evolving as a spiritual being. With it saying, with the Latin word meaning that which has been spoken, keep in mind that our fate is our fate. So before you were born, your fate was already written in the stars. Like who you're meant to be, where you're supposed to go, it's already been written, set in stone. You just have to be the one to get you there. You have to be the one to do the healing, the inner work, to continue to evolve and grow throughout your whole life, to do everything you're meant to do while you're here in this lifetime. So that card is representative of good, positive twist. So kind of just keep an eye out. Your energy may change. You may get a kind of boost of energy and confidence. Take it for what it is and own it. Really own it. The Fates indicates the shifting of events, usually for the better. They suggest a certain cohesion in life, an organizing principle, and are an especially welcome sign in difficult times. So whatever you're going through right now, where you've been dissatisfied, just uncertain, sitting in the unknown, not knowing how to move forward, it's coming to an end. Like it's coming to an end. That time is over. When this card appears in a reading, it brings the message associated with luck, karma, destiny, a turn in the wheel, a new chapter, and or an unexpected twist of fate. So keep that in mind too. You may be confused with your being dissatisfied and sitting in this unknown. You may think that this is like that you've done something wrong. Don't think of it that way. We all find ourselves in times of uncertainty and sitting in the unknown. We all find ourselves in times of just being dissatisfied because it's like, this isn't what I want. Like, why am I not being given exactly what I want? You're being given what you're given right now because you're meant to learn from it. You're meant to take the lesson and to evolve and grow. So later on down the road, you can teach someone in your life who goes through the same thing. You can say, hey, I've been through this. This is what you need to do. Or this is my advice. With the fates, think about your karma. How do you treat people around you? Your whole life, how have you treated people? What have you put into the world? What intentions have you had with what you do, the work that you do in your day-to-day life? Do you do things out of unconditional love and grace and harmony and acceptance of others, or do you do things out of ego and harm and selfishness? Think about that. This card is a sign of times are turning and karma's coming. Karma misses no one. Everyone gets karma. And your karma is going to be whatever you put out coming right back to you tenfold. So this could be a sign of all that good work that you've put out and you feel like maybe it's gone nowhere. That's not true. It's about to come back to you tenfold. You just need to do the inner work to heal yourself and get yourself to where you need to be to fully be open to receiving the abundance that you're going to receive. So keep that in mind. Good things are coming, and don't be attached to what comes. Don't be attached to an expectation to where you're like, oh, good things are coming. This needs to happen. Or good things are coming. So now I'm going to get what I want. Now I'm going to be satisfied. Don't attach to that. You got to learn to be humble, be grateful, and be happy with what you have and what you're given every day of your life. So be open, be open-hearted, be open-minded, be vulnerable to things coming into your life here and maybe in like the next few days or the next week or maybe even the next month. Just kind of pay attention to what starts coming into your life and who starts coming into your life. The next card we have is the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords represents heartache, emotional distress, pain, grief. This is not always around romantic natures, but it can be around romantic natures. It represents separation, loss, and or betrayal for someone close. So you may be going through some pain right now. Someone close to you, whether it be romantic or platonic, it could be a friend, it could be someone that you held closer than they held you close. You could be going through a lot of pain and grief from that person, that relationship, that situation, or whatever was done wrong by you. Remember that sorrow and grief are not negative emotions. There's no such thing as a negative emotion. Emotions are here to teach us, and they're not here to stay. They are visitors. They're here to bring us a lesson or bring us an opportunity to learn more about ourselves and give more compassion and acceptance and grace to ourselves. So whatever pain you're feeling, whatever you have gone through that's brought that pain on, whether someone's done something to you or you lost somebody or something, you may need to look into some forgiveness, not for yourself, but for the other person. Whether the person did you dirty, did something wrong by you, or maybe you lost someone physically, maybe someone died in your life, who knows? Whoever that person is, no matter what the situation was, no matter what happened, you need to accept that you're hurting, and you need to accept that it's okay to hurt. And then you need to accept that that hurt is not meant to stay. You're not meant to attach to it. You're not meant to become the hurt and the grief. You're meant to feel it and release it. And you can release it by doing art. You can create things, music, paint, write, journal, draw things, anything, create anything, learn to crochet, learn a new skill, anything. Take that pain that you're feeling and just find a way to channel it in a healthy way and find a way to release it. My advice for it, when I'm feeling pain, I like to journal. Journaling is a way for me to release the feelings and not attach to them. I accept them for what they are, and in the act of literally writing down what I am feeling, why I'm feeling it, what it's attached to, and where it's rooted from, in that act of putting it on the paper, I'm releasing that energy out of my body onto another object, and the object is the paper, and it helps release it from my spiritual body, my mind, my physical body, everything. So keep that in mind. You may need to do some inner work of accepting what happened, accepting what was, and maybe just forgiving the other person, even if you don't want to. Forgiveness isn't for them. Forgiveness is for you. You don't have to be okay with what they did to you, but you can look at the situation as a whole and say, this is who that person is. This is who they chose to show up as in their relationship with me. These are the actions they chose to make. This is how they affected me. It hurt, but I'm capable of getting up, moving forward, and receiving what I'm worth in this lifetime. And with that, you forgive the other person. Just accept who they are, accept who they showed up as, accept what they've done, accept that it can't be changed, accept that it hurt, and release them with unconditional love. Let them go on their path, let them go in whatever direction they are going in because they're choosing to go in that direction, and detach yourself from it. You're not responsible for them. You're not responsible for what they've done to you, but you are responsible for healing it. So keep that in mind. The next card that we drew is the Five of Wands. So the Five of Wands represents an internal or external conflict, creating problems where there are none. There is an energy of tension present, as well as a discernible sense of mystery. The Five of Wands may also point to inner conflict, a struggle in trying to attain success. The Five of Wands may also point to inner conflict, a struggle in trying to attain success or creating problems where there are none. The impulse to do so is usually embedded deep in the unconscious due to an unresolved issue. Seeking resolution, the struggle is perpetuated until it is brought into the conscious awareness for healing. This is also the card of unorganized action, competition, and the games people play. When this appears in your reading, you may find yourself engaged and immersed in a struggle of some kind. Whether it's with siblings, friends, coworkers, or an inner wrestling match, a challenge is brewing. While this card reveals strife and agitation, take heart in knowing that despite how grand the challenges may seem right now, the Five of Wands is a card suggesting you are facing a minor fight in the battle of life. In general, the conflicts reflected here are manageable, and you may have the capacity to overcome them. Remember that opposition isn't always negative. Just as muscles atrophy, I don't know how to say that word, atrophy. When unused, we grow stronger through adversity. With this card coming up and with you being in pain and stuff, so my discernment of this card for this collective is that you may find yourself with a lot of tension with a lot of people around you. You're constantly finding yourself in this cycle of having issues with people, or people having issues with you. And you can't figure out why. You're just like, I just have this animosity towards this person, and then they have animosity towards you. But it's not necessary. It's almost like you're creating it in a sense. And the way to look at it, like a perspective to have on the situation, is when you have issues with someone or ongoing where you're constantly finding yourself in that cycle of just having issues with people, it's probably because the people you're having issues with are people that you can actually learn from, and you don't want to accept that. They're people who you internally despise in a sense. You may be jealous of them, or they may just rattle your spirit. It makes you like, you just feel tense around them. You're like, this person makes me feel just like a way I don't want to feel. Change your perspective on that. Don't look at it as like, oh, this person's bad and they're meaning harm towards me. Look at it as, this person is the universe giving me an opportunity to learn, evolve, and grow. Look at what they represent. Look at the actions they make. Look at their beliefs and their morals and how they carry themselves. Figure out what you see in them that you already are. Because whatever's agitating you about them is something that you're hiding in yourself. And the more that you learn to give yourself that love and the self-love and the healing and self-acceptance, the more you can accept those around you. And then you won't have so much tension. You'll finally be able to stop the cycle of having issues with people. Because having issues with people, it takes two to tango. So if someone has an issue with you, so be it. But you don't have to have an issue with them. If they have an issue with you, you can still choose to see them for who they are. You can choose to be the bigger person. You can choose to say, why does this person have tension with me? And why do I feel it too? And to go, okay, maybe they're a mirror. Maybe I'm supposed to see who they are and see them in myself and evolve from it. And it may be a lesson of seeing that even if you choose to take those lessons, learn them, and grow, that the other person is responsible for making that choice themselves. You can't force them to grow. You can't force someone outside of you to make a choice or to hold themselves accountable or responsible. They have to do that in their own time. So you may struggle with egotistically thinking that you were put here to help everyone you come in contact with. That's not necessarily true. We're meant to come like into the world and to heal others, love others, and bring positivity to those around us. But that doesn't mean that we're meant to do it for everyone. Not everyone is going to accept it from us, and we have to internally accept that. You have to accept that you will help those who are willing to help themselves and want the help and guidance from you. And that's that. Other than that, you have to stop attaching to it. You can't attach to egotistically helping everyone else like you walk water or like you're already the highest form of yourself, because in reality, you're not. In reality, you still have your own pain, you still have your own unhappiness, you still have your own healing and love to do, just like they do. So egotistically, you're trying to pretend to be someone you're not. It's almost like you're not practicing what you're preaching, in a sense. So don't take your pain, don't take the dissatisfaction and project it onto someone else and try to fix their issues, because that is a conscious choice of you avoiding your own inner issues. And this could come from trauma. This could come from your childhood. You could have grown up with a lot of trauma, gone through a lot of trauma through family or through whatever you went through in your childhood. And you could have been taken advantage of a lot, whether it be emotionally, mentally, physically, anything. You may have this rooted belief that you're meant to pour into everyone around you. But that is a belief and a structure that's in your DNA that was created out of fear and out of hurt and pain and trauma that you could not control. So you really need to maybe accept that. Accept that what happened to you happened, but don't look at yourself as the victim of what happened. Look at yourself as like, why did this happen to me? Why is my story my story? How can I learn from what I went through, and how can I turn it around? How can I pick myself up? How can I choose myself? How can I channel all this energy that I want to give to everyone else egotistically? How can I discipline myself to channel it back into myself for my own growing, my own healing? So therefore, when people need help, and if they want to help themselves and they want some guidance from me and they do reach out on their own, you are able to come from a place of a full cup where you can genuinely help them without being attached to it, without being attached to the egotistical, like, oh, I helped all these people. That's not what we're meant to do. If you help someone, you're meant to help someone and give them that love when they need it, give them that guidance when they need it, release it, and let them do with it what they please, not for you to go front the fact that you did it. So look at any like issues you're having in your life with people around you, coworkers, friends, family members, siblings, romantic partners, anything. Just look at the issues you're having, because those issues, they don't have to be such big issues if you change your perspective. If you view it as a obstacle that's meant to be overcome, and maybe the obstacles that keep presenting themselves, maybe they're between you and other people. Maybe it's a sign of healing that you need to do in your relationships, like both romantically and platonically. Maybe you struggle in relationships with taking accountability and doing your own inner work. Maybe you accept everyone else to always do their inner work and show up for you, but you don't do the same, in a sense. So keep that in mind. The next card we drew is the only reverse card in this reading. It's the Eight of Pentacles, and it is in reverse. I actually haven't drawn this card many times in any of my readings. Okay. This card represents personal growth through learning and perfecting a new skill. The Eight of Pentacles represents a commitment to work that you find meaningful. It may be repetitive, ordinary, or even extraordinary in nature, but through a steady devotion to your craft and focused labor, skill and proficiency will arise. It could also signify a time of learning a new trade or profession, either through a structured program or by your own dedicated efforts. With it in reverse, it represents nearsighted ambition, needing guidance, and taking shortcuts. So with that card coming in, you may have like a plan in mind. There may be a skill or a profession that you've been called to that you're like, oh, I'm meant to do this, or I feel like I'm meant to do this, but you're not wanting to do the work. You're not genuinely wanting to do all the work or to dedicate all the time and energy it's going to take. Or maybe you don't know how to go about it. Maybe you're like, I am meant to like do this. Like I feel the calling that I'm meant to do this, but how do I get started? How do I get from this point to that point? How do I get from point A to point B? How do I get from start to finish? Like, how do I best do this? And you're trying to maybe force it. You're maybe trying to rush the process. You're maybe trying to attach yourself to the outcome, and you're like, oh, I need to get to this, and I need to get to this outcome right now. I need to be this person right now. That's not always the case. Maybe do some research. Maybe reach out to some people in the field that you're looking into, or who actually like practices the skill that you're wanting to start practicing. Get some guidance, get some advice. Ask them how they went about it. Ask them the time it took for them to do it. Like what obstacles came up in their process of doing it. Because if you're meant to do whatever it is you're being called to do, you're meant to do it. But you're also meant to go through the process of getting yourself there, because in that process you have lessons that you're meant to learn. So therefore, later on down the road, when someone comes to you for guidance, or like, how did you do that? How did you get from point A to point B? How did you like stay true to yourself even when it took this long, or when you went through all this, or when you had to learn all this and it took all this time and energy? How did you do it? You can then help them from a place of unconditional love and grace and acceptance. I would say whatever it is that you're feeling called to do, I would advise you to reach out to somebody, whether it's a professional, if you're looking into a profession, or if it's just a new skill. Reach out to someone. Look into community. Social media can actually be a great thing, especially for times like that. Look into other people who do whatever you're feeling called to doing, and see if you can meet with them. Ask them some questions. Pick their brain. Ask for their testimony, in a sense, if they're willing to share it. Ask for their process and what they had to go through, the obstacles they had to face to get where they were. And don't attach to their story. Don't attach to their advice, because your path is your path. Your path is unique. You're going to have your own unique obstacles to get to where it is that you're wanting to go. So don't be so hard on yourself. Don't rush it. Whatever you're being called to do, you're being called to do for a reason. So it doesn't need to happen tomorrow. There's a reason you're being called to do it. So really take the accountability and the responsibility to do it with pure intention. Pure intention, without expectation, but to do it how it's meant to be done for you on your path in this lifetime. The next card that we drew is the Hanged Woman, and she is not in reverse. She is upright. And this card represents surrendering to the unknown, sacrifices initiating revelation, and the breaking of old patterns. She appears at a time when we are in need of a new perspective, or when there are old patterns that must be broken. She is here to encourage you to look at things from a different perspective. She supports the shedding of unnecessary protections and emboldens the sacrifice of unproductive beliefs. It may be frightening or uncomfortable to turn your world upside down at first, but sometimes when the old familiar ways of doing things no longer work, it is the only thing we can do. Say yes to surrender in this moment with as much grace and ease as you are able, and allow the freshness of a new point of view to reinvigorate your heart, mind, and soul. This card represents growth. You're ready to grow. You are ready to let go of old and welcome in new. You are in a place of dissatisfaction, unknown, uncertainty. You're not getting what you want. You want it right now. You don't know why it's not coming right now. The answer is because you're not ready to receive it yet. You're not in a position to where you're ready to have that power in your hands because you don't even know what to do with it yet. You just want to hold it. But that's egotistical. You need to do some healing. You need to balance yourself. You need to look at more self-love. Look at your habits, make changes where they need to be. Tune into the energy that is present where you're feeling like you are moving forward. You're moving in a positive direction. You're moving forward and you have the energy to get yourself there. So call into it, but use it intentionally. Don't use it in a sense like I'm calling into it. I'm doing everything I need to do. I need to get there. No, grab that energy and just say, this energy's here. I'm going to use it for how it's meant for me to use it. In whatever way this unfolds, I'm here for it. I'm letting go. I'm surrendering. I'm trusting my process and I'm moving forward. Even through the pain that you're feeling, even through the conflicts you keep facing and everything, you have to learn to surrender to it. It's a part of life and you have to change your perspective. You have to learn to change your perspectives on everything. I think this is a time where you're meant to really look at your beliefs. Look at your beliefs, look at what you practice. If what you practice matches what you preach, look at stuff like that. Make genuine changes. Don't be afraid of being vulnerable. Don't be afraid of letting go of your ego for growth. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing at all. And this work is going to get you where you're meant to be. And if you do feel called to a certain profession or picking up a certain skill, like I said, I would advise for this collective, reach out to somebody. Look into the field you're looking into. Look into someone who may not be a professional, but practices daily in something. And pick their brain. Just get some advice and maybe ask them like some habits they picked up on, changes they made to make themselves better or something like that. Get help. Lean on those around you. Find some community in where you're wanting to go and use it in the correct way to your advantage. Don't use it for the harm of anyone or for selfishness or for you to be the greatest of all at doing it. That's not true. We all bring our own uniqueness to everything that we do and everything we partake in. So you're meant to be on this path. You're meant to follow this calling that you're having, but you're not meant to rush it and you're not meant to attach to expectations of it. And you're not meant to demand that it comes to you when you want it to come to you. You are meant to go through the process of getting yourself there in your own time and through your own inner work. The last card that we drew is the Moon card. The Moon card represents a dark night of the soul, which could represent depression, loneliness, just things that you're going through and you're feeling very little guidance. This card says, when you're going through the dark night of the soul, trust in dreams and intuition rather than the logical mind to be your guide. When the Moon card appears, it points to much happening beneath the surface. It heralds a time of subtle changes and influences, uncertain circumstances, perhaps an emotional or mental trial. This could be a time in one's life where the darkest point is just before dawn. Sensitivity and empathy run at an all-time high. It's a dreamlike period of time which could easily transgress into a nightmare if one is not vigilant in how they manage their feelings. It could also point to being deceived or lied to by someone close and the confusion that arises as a result. For some, this may just be the opportunity needed in order to plumb to greater depths of the self and the grand mystery of yourself. Like a tide, find something to pour the powerful mystical currents into, for the depths of this card are not meant to be contained within you. Like a tide of immense feeling, they are intended to flow. With that being the end of the card, it really brings the reading together. So looking back over all the cards and everything we just went over, You may be in a really dark time right now, a really dark time of unknown, a time of starting over, a time of a new beginning, but you're not sure how to move forward and how to move through it. The best advice I can give you on perspective of the situation is when you find yourself in the situation, you need to remind yourself daily that you are the creator of your reality. The only person who has power over your life and where you go in life and what you do in life, the choices you make, the only person that has that power is you. Not a single other soul on this planet. Nobody. Nobody who's caused you pain, nobody who's done you wrong, no one has power over you. You ultimately choose who you want to be, who you want to show up as, where you want to be, and you are ultimately responsible for getting you to those destinations. It's not on anybody else. No matter what pain you're feeling, no matter who you're conflicting with, what's going on with other people where they're not seeing you clearly, you're not seeing them clearly, you can't see eye to eye, you can't reach a middle ground. Even with all that pain and stuff, there's some lessons to be learned. Don't be afraid of those feelings and the conflicts. See them for what they are, for who they're with, what they are, whoever did what they did to you. See the feelings for what they are. Allow yourself to be vulnerable and feel those feelings. Allow yourself to hurt. Allow yourself to be sad. Allow yourself to be embarrassed or ashamed. Allow yourself to be mad. Allow yourself to have your victim mindset. But the trick is to not attach to it. Allow yourself to feel the stuff, release it. Find a way to release it and then grow past it. Don't get stuck in that rut. You're not meant to get stuck. With the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, whatever you're feeling called to do, I don't know what your calling is. Whatever it is, whatever profession you're now getting interested in or a skill that you're really feeling called, like, I'm meant to do this, be patient. Be patient. Take the time. Be intentional with what you're doing. Reach out for help. Find community. Find some guidance. Don't be afraid of that. None of that is weak. Vulnerability is not weak. It is one of the biggest strengths on this planet. Because no human can ever evolve and learn and grow without being vulnerable and accepting where they fall short or where they struggle. And we're all human. At the end of the day, we're all just one. We're all just walking each other home. I hope with this reading, I hope it finds who it's meant to find. And I hope you find the balance that you're needing in life. I hope you can find a way to give yourself the love that you're worthy of. Stop looking for it in other people. Stop expecting other people to give it to you when it is your responsibility to give it to yourself. We are responsible for taking care of ourselves. We are responsible for believing in ourselves. We are responsible for seeing ourselves as the worthy beings that we are. And until you see yourself that way, no one else will see you that way. Until you really take power of the fact that you are worthy and you're in a